Hello, welcome in right now here into Caden's Weather Center. We're paying attention right now to the tropics. We have a lot to be paying attention to as we do have Invest 98L out here in the Atlantic. Right now, not a threat to the United States and most likely might not be, but definitely a threat for the Caribbean islands, possibly the Lesser Antilles, and possibly Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. So it's definitely something to be paying attention to. So let's head right into it right now. Taking a look here at the satellite picture, we can clearly see we still have a lot of a very nice looking tropical system here. Majority of it is right there. That seems like a pretty well organized tropical system here of a low pressure trying to form. We can clearly see there's possibly a spin sitting right in there. We kind of can see a little bit of a spin starting to happen there as this storm continues to move off into possibly different locations here. So definitely something to be paying attention to. So the models will be definitely our biggest friend here, or where we want to pay attention to it. So taking a look here at the National Hurricane Center. This is our map that we're paying attention to right now. We can clearly see 90% chance in the next 7 days, 70% chance in 2 days. Very likely the storm is going to form no matter what. Here we can definitely see that. There's our tropical system right here that we're paying attention to. Where the question is when does it get pulled up to the north? Some models bring it over into the islands here, and then some models bring it a little bit more to the south, which could impact Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and Haiti, which is definitely something we need to pay attention to. If you live in those places, we definitely need to be paying attention to that very, very closely here. Then the 2-day, as we can clearly see, very organized. The rest of the Atlantic, man, very, very quiet, I would say. There's like almost nothing here on satellite. Tropical wave coming off Africa. Does have a chance of formation. Well, according to the National Hurricane Center, not right now. A little bit of convection starting to blow up over here just by Mexico, and then we can clearly see other than that everything else is very quiet. This is our main focus right here right now in the Atlantic. So taking a look here at the kind of the satellite type of Invest 98L here, we can clearly see a lot of that convection definitely was really starting to blow up this morning. Now it's starting to kind of die down a little bit. That's usually what these systems do, because now we see a little bit of something forming back here in the more of the back part of the storm. So definitely we could possibly be seeing something, a little bit of that spin sitting right in there. So a little bit of a broad still rotation that we could be seeing right now. Heading into the true color, we can clearly see looking very organized, I would say, for what it is right now. We could definitely see that very, very closely here. A lot of convection starting to really start to blow up. Actually, I would say on this one, once again, it's going to have another round of flares and all that starting to blow up here. The southern side not as strong as this side right here, but definitely something to be paying attention to. Then we head in over here to the water vapor. Lots of dry air is in the path of this system here, so that could limit some type of development for right now, but we will have to keep an eye out on it right now because it's pushing with a lot of moist air. It's kind of surrounded by that dry air, but pushing with a lot of moist air. So depending on how fast it gets together, we could be seeing a little bit of a situation here for the islands. That's something that they need to be paying attention to closely. Let's take a look at the spaghetti models because this is our biggest thing. And pretty consistent on where it's going to be going in the next 24 hours. Some models you can clearly see still bring it up here into the north, but then starts to really get spread out over here in 48 hours. So if we see more of a southern type of push, more of the islands could be impacted here, and Puerto Rico could be impacted. If we see more of a northern push, the islands could still be impacted, but not as bad. And then Puerto Rico, same thing kind of with you. But what I will say is that, the islands definitely need to be on the lookout, but Puerto Rico, maybe you guys should start getting prepared here due to these models getting awfully close to Puerto Rico, so we could be seeing a possible system here. This is in the next 72 hours. We could be seeing the storm all the way over here, and then starts to slow down after 72 hours. 96 hours is right here, and then 120 hours is right here. So starts to move a little bit slower as it gets pulled up to the north here, a little bit move off to the slower. The intensity models, we can clearly see GFS is bringing it up here into possibly almost Category 2 status here, and it actually is bringing it into Category 2 status. The hurricane models bringing it into Category 3 here. The CMC, the Canadian model, bringing it still only as a tropical storm here. And then the UK model bringing it only into tropical storm. So definitely something to be paying attention to as we go on. Majority of the models are bringing it up into possibly Category 2 over here. So definitely probably will most likely see a Category 2 over here. But some of these models say it's going to form in the next 24 hours. Majority of them say it's going to form in the next 36 hours. So a day and a half we could be seeing a tropical system out here in the Atlantic. Taking a look here at this, the forecast models here, this is the GFS right now. We can clearly see there's our tropical system right there. 1,010 millibars over here, probably by tomorrow morning here. Then we take a look here as this storm starts to move near the islands here. We're starting to see a little bit of moving towards the islands. That is where we could be seeing some impacts here on August 13th in the afternoon time. Then the GFS kind of brings it just north of Puerto Rico, pretty close to Puerto Rico here. And then brings it really close to the Puerto Rican island here, not as close to the Dominican Republic and Haiti, but then starts to get pulled off to the north here, and will really start to race off to the north as it gets pulled off to the northeast here. But Bermuda, that is also a place that needs to be paying attention to it. The GFS saying it's going to be right kind of on your doorstep here is a 956 millibar, 958 millibar hurricane, and then we'll start to race off to the northeast here. So definitely something to be paying attention to. But Bermuda, Puerto Rico, and the Lesser Antilles definitely need to be paying attention to the storm very, very closely here. If we head into the 00Z of the European model this morning, kind of the same type of scenario here with the GFS, but maybe a little bit of a weaker system as it approaches the Lesser Antilles. Then we see it kind of push a little bit more to the south. It does push more to the south here, going into kind of closer to Puerto Rico, and then a little bit more closer to the Dominican Republic and all that, but it keeps it a lot more weaker. So 995 millibars instead of what GFS is saying, and then brings it up to the north here and possibly still hitting Bermuda. So we could be seeing a storm hit Bermuda pretty closely here. Maybe a category 2 or maybe a borderline category 3 here. So definitely want to say that. But if you take a look, Bermuda definitely needs to be paid attention to very, very closely here is what we kind of need to pay attention to. So if we head into the ensembles, though, the European ensembles, we can clearly see the European ensembles are kind of, they're pretty consistent on where it wants to be. Pretty good odds that, it will most likely be right in this region right here before getting pulled up to the north here. So kind of just near the, some of these models bringing it right over Puerto Rico. Then this is where it gets a little bit more spread out here. We can clearly see stretching all the way from the Bahamas all the way into the Atlantic. This is where it really gets spread out here. August 17th, we can clearly see very, very big spread out here in the Atlantic. So Bermuda definitely just needs to keep their eye on this tropical system here, because, some of them are bringing the west, some of them are bringing off to the right. Definitely a lot to be paying attention to as we go on throughout the next couple of days, really. So, but you can clearly take a look at that. There is a possible chance of Bermuda getting possibly hit, or it could go to the west. If we head into the GFS ensembles, maybe a little bit more of a different scenario here. We can clearly see still pretty consistent on possibly bringing it just near here of Puerto Rico. Then we can clearly see it gets pulled off to the north, and then that's when it also starts to get spread out, maybe a little bit more of weaker systems, I would say. And then Bermuda definitely could get missed by this tropical system. So definitely something to be paying attention to as we go on throughout the next couple of days and hours on here. But the model runs. So if you live in the Lesser Antilles, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, and Bermuda, you need to be paying attention to this tropical system right now, as it is getting very well organized pretty quickly. So we want to keep an eye out, obviously, on that very closely here. So please make sure if you have any questions about the tropics and where it could go, just make sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can. But also, please make sure if you want any more information on the tropics right now, please make sure to follow my X page down in the description, that I post frequent updates on the tropics, the severe weather, and all of that around the United States. So please be making sure you're paying attention to that. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Please be staying safe out there, even if you're in the severe weather threat, or if you are in the tropics. Please make sure that you are paying attention to all the threats that could be possibly impacting your area. So please be making sure about that, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.